But you said earlier, man, if you had the option on getting into day trading or real estate, you said real estate.
Yes.
And obviously your reasons why. But if you ain't got the money or necessarily the credit, how do you get into real estate without having any of those things?
Easy. It's not hard. You got a family member with good credit? Use a credit partner. You don't have to listen. If you got a credit partner who's willing to partner with you in an LLC and go on an operating agreement and use their credit, you can get into real estate. It's not to say you can't. Somebody's had good credit. Let's say you have good credit, and let's say you got a auntie or uncle or somebody who has a 401k. 401k is turning about, let's be modest, 9%. Okay, you got a real estate deal sitting on the table that in 6 months going to turn 35-40%. All you need is 20 grand to get in. Let's say they got 100 grand in that account. They could pull 100 grand. They could pull the 20 grand out of that account or 25 grand account just for 5 grand cushion and bring it in to do the actual deal with their credit. And then you split out the money. They can put it right back and forth, okay?
Yeah.
So there's ways to get deals done.
And that goes back to like education for real, bro. Because like, I understand that concept because I've been doing it for so long. Mm-hmm. But when I think about Gene in 2020, in 2007 with a 13-hour job, mm-hmm. You know, couldn't pay my bills, living a paycheck. I couldn't imagine I wanted to be in real estate, but I couldn't imagine it would be that easy. Now I fast forward because I have the knowledge and the skill set. Like, I could lose everything tomorrow and know that I could go make money in real estate, you know, because the market gonna go in cycles. Mm-hmm. So it's the skill level. So I say all that to say, it really goes back to the education. Because like you just said, you don't know how to recognize a good deal unless you have the education on if it's a good deal or not.
That's correct.
In terms of running comps, in terms of like evaluating properties. And even though like the numbers are super important, what I say to people out there is there are a couple ways you can get in. You know, being of course you can go be a mortgage broker because you're gonna learn a lot, mm-hmm. But becoming a real estate agent is like low-hanging fruit. At the very least, you learn networking because you're going to be a part of a broker. Mm-hmm. If you got a good firm that you're a part of, you're going to learn how to run comps. You're going to learn how to evaluate mm-hmm. deals. So if you have no real estate experience at all, becoming an agent is a good way to get into the game mm-hmm. because it's low-hanging fruit. And just like this shot, oh shit, it ain't easy. Just like that shot, it ain't easy. It looks easy, but it's not easy. People look at their real estate license
that shot was
thinking that, oh, I can work part-time and make $100,000 a year. Nah, your ass ain't gonna make $100,000 a year working part-time. No. It's a grind and a hustle, bro. It ain't easy.
No, real estate, I'm gonna tell you. And what's so crazy was, I started getting a real estate license. I took the class, Metro Brokers. Started getting a real estate license.
That's my first broker. Hey, because back then it was Metro Brokers, GMAC.
Yes, I took the class and started getting a real estate license. And my mother was like, you gonna get your real estate license? And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. But what happened was, I got on a project and couldn't get the free time to go take the test. So fast forward, me and Tim, Mr. Bootstrap Millionaire, Tim T. Mercer, we sitting around talking. And I said, yo, bro, man, look, we done did this together, we did this together. Why don't we do a residential mortgage company together? You know what he told me? Ross, nah, man, show me the goddamn money. Hell no, I ain't doing that shit. Really? Man, I ain't doing it. Nah. A year later, hey, Ross, what you doing? Well, you know what I'm doing. I'm doing this. He said, hey, man, go get your LO license, man. Come be a loan officer with me. Huh? I got a residential mortgage company now. Come help me out. Get your license. I asked you that a year ago, man. I had time. Now I ain't got time. So I had to move. Stuff around. Because that's my boy. That's my homie. We've been rocking each other for 20-some years. That's my man. Move stuff around. And they didn't tell me. This was like taking the bar. Man, I went to that class and took that thing, man. Took the class, took the test. First time I took it, I made a 74 out of 75.
Wow, 1 point.
1 point. I was cussing mad. So you gotta wait 30 days to take it again. They make you wait 30 days to take it again. So just what happened, my appointment was 30 days later because they were backed up. I would have knocked it out the next time. I was still in the 80s or whatever, but I was still like, I understood, and that what made me understand that the way the industry is, there's a, 3, 4, 5 million real estate agents?
A lot.
There's only, listen to this now. Listen to this.
Damn many.
Listen to this. There's only 100, when I got my license, there was 187,000 licensed loan officers in the country. That's it. Now, you say, well, the dudes working at Wells Fargo and Bank of America, they ain't got to be licensed. You can go get a job there and work as a loan officer and don't have no license. You get it, they'll give you an MLS number, anybody get that. You have a license. But the real license ones, 187,000. I just did a look up the other day, and there's only 80,000 active.
Wow.
So how many agents again you got? 3 million? How many? I've got millions? 80,000 active in the country. That's it. So when it comes down to borrowing money, and you ask people all the time, I'm going to the bank to get my money. I crush the banks. Because technically speaking, I have more lenders as a broker. I have more lenders than what the bank has. The bank has probably 4 products. I got 220 lenders and a ton of products. I got a lender for, you got a social security number? I got a lender for you. You know what I'm saying?
So you saying they ain't got no social security? You got a lender for me?
Yeah, I got a lender for you.
What if I ain't filed taxes?
Got a lender for you. I don't care about taxes. Yeah. I mean, whatever situation you come with me with, you have 500 credit score, I got a lender for you. Now, don't bring that to me, because then you have a conversation. Look at me. Get your scores up, bro. Take your 30, 45 days, get your scores up, please. Because I don't want you to get that deal they're going to give you. Now listen, they're going to loan you the money. But I don't need you at the closing table, mad at me, because they got that rod on you. That rod. You don't want that. Get your scores up. Let me help you get your scores up. But I can loan as low as 500 in here in Atlanta, because somebody asked me before about FHA. FHA here in Atlanta is, let's just call it $650,000. So you can get a $650,000 home with a 500 credit score.
Wow. I will say this, man. I had a guy probably a couple months ago. He was doing a loan, like a personal loan to get the capital. And you speaking of, they had a rod in his ass. Hey, the rate was 165%, bro. I kid you not. When I saw that shit, and it was a personal loan. They were charging him 165%.
And
it was like a $10,000 loan. 165%.
What do you want back?
I couldn't believe it.
What do you want back? 30 grand?
And the lender was the lender was Best Egg. I was like, damn, Best Egg.
Best Egg. That's called busted egg. What you mean
165%, bro.
What you mean, man?
Man, let me go ahead.
Let me see what you going
I try to be generous to the guests. It's the first show. I don't want to come on here and just, I hit this fucking left-handed. Come on here and just start.
You get shot.
Breaks off guests. Then, motherfuckers ain't gonna want to come.
You ain't got no more alcohol, so I can't shoot me anyway until you get my alcohol.
So, walk that blue down there on your ass.
You'll take the blue where? To the corner pocket?
Yeah.
My shot.
Yeah. Nah.
That's it, my shot. All right, nine the sides. I mean, 9 the corner since you asked me for it. Got enough space there. Right between it. Ooh, I hit too hard on that. Okay. You got one more shot, Gene. That's it for you. I'll make that mistake twice. So yeah, how does he? Woof. He should be. You know what? If I was him, no, I can't say that. because I wouldn't have took that deal anyway. I'd have just suffered. Sometimes in lending, you got to learn something. And some deals are out there to teach you more than anything. And some deals are bad deals, but you don't want to purposely take a bad deal. However, the deal is only bad as if the whole deal is bad. You know. So in other words, if let's say, okay, people always call my interest rates. Man, what's your interest rate? What you care? You're an investor. If you're gonna, and Tim had a deal. Matter of fact, Tim had a deal. He'll probably tell you about it. Where the guy's making 200% on the back end. But he's mad about a 14% interest rate, but he making 200%. I told him, I said, you better than me, bro. I know the guy who you talking about. I said, you better than me, bro. I said, you know what I told him? Get off my phone. Nah,
but you make a good point. Because I'm just looking at the interest rate on what they offer him, but he needed the whatever it was, 10,000.
How much did he make?
I don't know the details of the deal, but let's just assume he needed that money to do the deal, and the deal was gonna make him 50,000. But the 10,000 that he bought was gonna cost him $300 a month for 7 years, whatever it was. Think about it like this though: you get the money, but you're only paying the interest as long as you carry in
the debt.
The debt.
That's right.
So if that cost him, I don't know, a year, and it cost him $3,000, and he made the 50K and then paid off the balance, that money was still good money for him to do the deal.